Foxtrot Bravo Bravo, pull up and go around.
Go around, Foxtrot Bravo Bravo.
Hey, Tower India, Echo Lima, downwind 13, touch and go.
India Echo Lima number 3, follow Cessna left base, turning 1 mile final.
India Echo Lima.
Foxtrot Bravo Bravo Tower, fly runway heading.
Fly runway heading, Foxtrot Bravo Bravo.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land runway 13.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land 13.
Zulu Sierra Alpha, change of plans, crossover midfield, join right downwind runway 13.
Zulu Sierra Alpha, crossover midfield, join the right downwind for 13.
Greetings everyone, greetings to Simair Flyer. I'm Dane Simair. Just doing a very short flight today to test out the BeyondATC new add-on module for Flight Simulator. I have flown it a few times. I've had a lot of problems with it only because it's in early access, and you are warned about that before purchasing it, so I'm not upset about the issues because it's still not perfected, but it's pretty close to being fairly accurate in what it does. So the last flight I had was from a normal controlled airport to another controlled airport, and it went quite well actually. It went very well. This time I'd like to do a short flight from a non-towered airport to a controlled airport. So I happen to be today in Duncan, British Columbia. This particular airport is one that I created myself. It's a Duncan Airport, Charlie Alpha Mike Tree, and we're gonna leave now from Duncan and go to Boundary Bay Airport, which is Charlie Zulu Bravo Bravo. I will show you on Navigraph, if I can bring Navigraph up. No, it's not coming up, so let's just move Navigraph over onto the screen. So we're leaving from Duncan. We're going to fly down to this VOR right here, Victoria VOR. This is Victoria International Airport, and then from there, let me take this off of here. Then from there we're going to fly over to, this is Vancouver International Airport on the mainland of British Columbia. We're going to fly to the VOR, Vancouver VOR, and do a VOR DME approach into runway 07 at Boundary Bay. So that's the plan, and I will just put that VOR DME back up so it's handy for me. Okay, so that being said, let's load up BeyondATC and hope that it works. Let's get into the airplane. We are flying today the Reims rocket 172. It has become my favorite I-wing single engine airplane. It's a great aircraft to fly, and it is fully equipped for IFR and all of that good stuff. Talking about IFR, BeyondATC so far is only IFR, set up for IFR. They are working on VFR, but right now it's only set up for IFR, and you have to use SimBrief in order to create a flight plan, because BeyondATC uses SimBrief for its ATC, for its air traffic control. It uses SimBrief as the base, so you do have to use SimBrief. Alright, let's bring BeyondATC up. makes that fancy little sound when it comes up. Alright, let's hope it works. It wasn't working the other day from an uncontrolled airport, and they did some updates, so let's hope it works.
BeyondATC connected.
Alright, so so I've got it auto-tuning the radios to the frequencies that I need. You can do an auto-respond, which the AI voice responds to air traffic control, but I don't want to do that. I want to do my own voice response. And over here, if you don't know the frequencies, you can click on this headset and it'll bring up all the applicable frequencies for the airport that you are at. So right now we're in Duncan, and the only frequency is Unicom, but it doesn't use Unicom. BeyondATC doesn't have a Unicom feature, but the frequency is there, but it really doesn't do anything. So the only frequency available to us is the center frequency, because it's an uncontrolled airport. So let's click on that frequency. Okay, so I've got we've clicked on that button, and we now have Vancouver radar. Let's just make this a little bigger. We now have Vancouver radar, which is 12595. So now let's call Vancouver radar and pick up our IFR clearance. Vancouver radar, November 624 Delta Whiskey, request IFR clearance.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Vancouver radar, expect runway tree 1. Climb 4,000 feet on runway centerline, then expect radar vectors Victoria VO squawk 6204.
Runway 31, climb to 4,000 feet on runway centerline, then expect radar vectors to Victoria VOR, squawk 6204, 624 Delta Whiskey.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, read back correct. Start or taxi at pilot's discretion. Code for release. Report holding short runway tree 1.
Taxi at pilot's discretion. Hold short runway 31. Hold for release. 624 Delta Whiskey. Okay, so we've got our clearance. See if we can make that smaller so we can see where we're flying. Actually, that goes out of the way, doesn't it? Okay, so that's probably a good thing. So I can make it a little bigger. Alright, so what was the squawk code? 6204. Okay, let's squawk 6204. It's at 1200 right now. There we go, we're at 6204. Let's taxi out to runway 31. If any of you guys want to pick up my airport, it's available on flightsim.to. Charlie Alpha Mike Tree. Just show you a little bit of the airport as we're flying out. I put those murals on the end of the hangars, and that's exactly what it's like in real life. Here we would contact on 1228, we'd say, you know, Duncan Airport, Skyhawk 624 Delta Whiskey back taxiing on runway 31 or straight out departure runway 31, Duncan Airport. But BeyondATC doesn't use Unicom, so they've given us clearance to taxi at our own discretion to runway 31 because they know it's an BeyondATC knows it's an uncontrolled airport. Therefore, it uses those terms. Taxi at your own discretion. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a left crosswind takeoff here. So the instructions were to taxi, to hold short 3-1. Well, there is no hold short taxiway, so we're holding short on the runway itself. We'll hold short right here. Alright, let's bring up BeyondATC. Alright, so we can get our next instructions. Now we could click this button right here rather than verbally say, verbally talk to ATC. So just to show you how that works, I'll click this button and I'll also do the auto respond so you can see what that's all about. So I'll turn auto respond on and I'll click this button. This of course takes the realism out of it, but I just want to show you what happens.
November 6-2, 4 Delta Whiskey, short of 3-1, holding for release.
November 6, 4 Delta Whiskey, released for departure. Clearance void if not off by 1550 Zulu. If not off by 1550 Zulu, do not contact later than 1600 Zulu. Time now 1528 Zulu. Frequency change approved.
Release for departure, November 6-2,
So that's the
4
auto
Delta Whiskey.
response. I'm going to turn auto response off for the next, for the rest of the flight. So there's also a radio check. There's a wind check you can do. We'll just verbally ask for a radio check. Vancouver radar radio check.
November 6, 4 Delta Whiskey, readability 5.
Alright, so we've got good. Alright, so let's be on our way. Okay, we got this bit of a left crosswind happening. 60 knots, 70, let's rotate. So the instructions were to fly the runway center line to 4,000 feet. So that's what we will do. I've already got the VORs tuned in. Now I did want to fly down to Victoria VOR. Normally we'd do a left turnout, left crosswind, and then a left downwind to depart to Victoria VOR, but the instructions were to fly runway center line to 4,000 feet for vectors. So let's just see what happens. So we're passing through 2,000. I'm just going to radio them. Vancouver radar, November 624 Delta Whiskey, 2,500.
November 6, 4 Delta Whiskey, Vancouver radar, identified. Continue climb to 4,000 feet.
Continue climb to 4,000 feet, 624 Delta Whiskey.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Turn right. Heading 320.
Turn right, 320, 624 Delta Whiskey. So set the heading bug to 320, which is right there. And we're heading up to 4,000 feet. Start to level off now. Reduce power. So there we are on Navigraph. We're heading north. I did originally want to fly to the Victoria VOR, but for some reason it's not allowing me to do that. But we'll see what happens. Oops, better watch my altitude. We're flying right now on Vancouver Island. Victoria International Airport is right down here. And that's where I wanted to fly to, and then go over to the mainland of British Columbia, which is over here. By the way, Washington, the state of Washington are these islands here. Friday Harbor and all of those places are right there. Boy, better watch my altitude. Let's go to speed.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Turn right. Heading 105. Vectors for Vancouver/Boundary Bay Airport.
Turn right, heading 105, vectors to Vancouver, Boundary Bay Airport. 624 Delta Whiskey. Oh, 105. Well, we may as well tune in the Vancouver VOR because it's not allowing me to go to the Victoria VOR. That's okay, it's vectoring me. Alright, we're at 4,000 feet, heading up 105. Actually, it looks like it's taking me down to Victoria VOR. Let's center the Victoria VOR. Yeah, it's actually taking me down to Victoria VOR right now. Show you on a little nav map that we were flying out here, heading 320. It told me to turn to 105, which I've done. And here's the Victoria VOR down here. So it's taking me all the way back down. Then I guess it'll take me up to here. not paying attention to my altitudes. Just so you know, I don't normally use...
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Cleared direct Victoria. Refill on navigation.
Cleared direct to Victoria, resume on navigation. 624 Delta Whiskey.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Expect radar vectors. RNAV runway tree 1. Report ready for descent.
I'm going to say again, just so it would... Vancouver radar, say again, please.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Expect radar vectors. RNAV runway tree 1. Report ready for descent.
Expect radar vectors for RNAV 31. Report ready for descent. 624 Delta Whiskey. Well,
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Turn right. Heading 120. Descend to 3,000 feet. QNH, Vancouver/Boundary Bay Airport landing runway tree 1.
turn right heading 120, descend to 3,000 feet. Landing runway 31.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Contact Vancouver approach 132 decimal tree.
So you can see I'm not using autopilot. I very seldom fly with autopilot, but because I'm doing this initial training on BeyondATC, I'm not paying attention to
November
my
624
altitudes.
Delta Whiskey. Contact Vancouver approach 132 decimal tree.
Contact Vancouver approach 132 decimal tree, 624 Delta Whiskey. And it changes the radio there. Vancouver approach, November 624 Delta Whiskey, 4,300.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, verify information, Victor.
Information Victor, 624 Delta Whiskey.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Vancouver approach. Altimeter 3045, expect radar vectors for RNAV runway tree 1.
Expect radar vectors for RNAV 31, 624 Delta Whiskey.
Negative, altimeter 3045.
See, I forgot to say the altimeter and it said negative. Altimeter 3045, 624 Delta Whiskey. So it caught my error.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, turn right, heading 135, vectors for the approach.
Turn right, heading 135, vectors for the approach, 624 Delta Whiskey.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, turn left, heading 050. Expect further clearance in about 26 miles.
Turn left, 050, expect for further clearance in about 26 miles, 624 Delta Whiskey. Alright, 050, I think I'll put the autopilot on. Get down to 3,000 feet, put the autopilot on. So it has taken me to the Victoria VOR, and now I'm turning to 050. problem is I did not want an RNAV approach. I wanted a VOR approach to runway 07. I'll have to see if I can change runways. I don't think it's been programmed into the system yet. Let's just get my heading and altitude. I'm supposed to be at 3,000 feet. Heading 050. Alright, so I'm at 3,000 feet, 050. I'm going to put the autopilot on. Autopilot, heading, altitude. Alright, so we got the autopilot on. Now let's see if I can change runways for landing. I don't think I can. Request a heading. The next fix. Verify. Next fix. Request altitude change. Request directive fix. Wind check. Radio check. I don't think I can request a different runway. Well, I'll try it and see. Vancouver radar, November 624 Delta Whiskey, request runway 07 at Boundary Bay Airport.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. I didn't get that.
No, they don't understand that. I do know they're working on allowing you to make those changes, but it's not in the system yet, so let's see what so I guess we have to kind of do what they're telling us to do. So my flight plan is out the window. I wanted to fly from this VOR to this VOR and do an approach into runway 07 because the winds when I last checked were 090. So I wanted to use runway 07 and do a VOR DME approach, but now it's taking me out here on a heading of 050 to land on runway 31. This is runway 31 right here. That's really not what I wanted to do. I do not use GPS. I don't like using GPS, but it's wanting me to use, it's taking me to this RNAV approach. I should load that chart and just see what it looks like. So that's the chart for the RNAV runway 31. So it's obviously taking me to Gudad, and then it's going to have me turn left 306. That was not my original plan. So we've got a little way to go, so I'll just pause the video, and when we get a little closer, I'll bring you guys back into it. It's kind of a hazy day out there today. I am using live weather. So all of these islands out here are Washington State Islands, Pacific Northwest. Victoria International is back here. Can't see it in the haze now. But these are all Washington State over here. And this is the mainland of British Columbia. over here. So like I said, we'll pause the video until we get a little bit closer. By the way, for those that think they may like to try this airplane, the Reams rocket, I highly recommend it. It's a free add-on, of course, donation if you wish, which I have donated to Bagaloo. Bagaloo is a producer of this, and it's really worth it. It's a fabulous airplane, and it's up on flightsim.to. It's the Reams rocket by Bagaloo. Okay, I'm going to pause the video for a little bit.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Turn left, heading 010.
Turn left, heading 010 for 624 Delta Whiskey. Alright, 010. So I wonder what the controller is planning. So we went from Victoria VOR out here on 050. He's now told me to turn left to 010. Okay, so he's taking me up to this fix, I guess. The SFM fix, heading me over to Goudod fix. Initial approach fix. Well, this is the initial approach fix coming from this direction.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Turn right, heading 105.
Turn right, heading 105, 624 Delta Whiskey. Okay, so he's brought me, now he's taking me 105, which I guess probably will take me direct to Goudod. No? Oh, okay, he's taking me over here to Penn, probably. Initial approach fix. Not sure where he's directing me to.
The advised information whiskey now current. Altimeter 3045. November 624 Delta Whiskey. Turn left, heading 055.
Turn left, heading 055, 624 Delta Whiskey. And it's taken me all over the place. So he brought me down here, 105, now he's taking me left, 055. I guess he's taking me right to Penn. Initial approach fix from the south.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. For miles from Goudod, turn left, heading 355. Maintain 2,000 feet until established on the final approach course. Cleared RNAV runway tree 1.
4 miles from Goudod, turn left, 355, maintain 2,000 feet until established on the final approach course. Cleared to RNAV 31, 624 Delta Whiskey.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Contact Boundary Bay Tower 127.6.
127.6, 624 Delta Whiskey. So it has changed it up here. And now I can contact Boundary Bay Tower. Boundary Bay Tower, November 624 Delta Whiskey.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Boundary Bay Tower. Continue.
I'm going to click the acknowledge instructions here.
Wilco, November 624 Delta Whiskey.
That's interesting. Oh, I'm supposed to go down to 2,000 feet, aren't I? I better not forget that. So let's go down to 2,000 feet. I'll take the altitude hold off. And it'll go down 700 feet per minute. Arm that. Yeah, this airplane scoots along pretty fast. You can see we're up to 160 knots. I think we better pull back some power here though. You know what? I think I've missed my turn. I was supposed to turn to okay, I think I've missed my turn. Oh, I just closed BeyondATC. That's not a good thing. I think I missed my turn. I'm going to take it off autopilot. I'm going to get back on course for runway 31. Yeah, I have missed my turn. It's my fault. I didn't follow the RNAV approach. I was supposed to follow this RNAV approach into runway 31 and I kept going. So now I'm coming back on course. And I'm not looking where I'm going, so I guess I should move that out of the way. Okay, maintain 2000. Get back on course. Let's put the autopilot back on. Heading mode. Altitude hold. Back down to 2,000 feet. We're gonna get back on course. So I'm coming back on course. We'll probably pick up the Etmol intersection. And at Etmol I'm supposed to be at 1,400 feet. So because I'm doing this manually, I'm going to step down to 1,400 feet. May as well do that right now. Set my altitude for 1,400 feet. 1,400. We'll arm it. We'll go down slowly. 100 feet per minute, that's all we need. Yeah, maybe we'll go down a little faster. 400 100 feet per minute. So I kind of messed up beyond
Beyond
ATC.
ATC
Because
connected.
I closed it accidentally. Light phase, so it knows it disconnected. Put it down here to descending. And I want Boundary Bay Tower. Now I've got a problem. It's not going to work. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Got a problem.
Information officer. 1600 Zulu. Wind 115 at 5 temperature 11. 2.07. Altimeter tree 046. Landing and departing runway tree 1. Transition level 180. Bird activity in vicinity of airport. Advise on initial contact you have information officer. Vancouver/Boundary Bay Airport information officer.
Let's see if it'll work now. Boundary Bay Tower, November 624 Delta Whiskey on final for runway 31.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. Did not copy.
Yeah, there's a problem. It happened when I shut it down. That's too bad. That's a bug in the system. Boundary Bay Tower, November 624 Delta Whiskey.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. I didn't get that.
Oh, okay, let me shut this off. Start it again. It was working great up until I went and accidentally turned it off.
Beyond ATC connected.
No, I'm not getting a connection to Bay. Boundary Bay Tower, November 624 Delta Whiskey, landing runway 31.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, Boundary Bay Tower. Wind 115 at 5. Runway tree 1 cleared to land.
Runway tree 1 cleared to land.
No. November 624 Delta Whiskey cleared to land runway tree 1.
Cleared to land, runway tree 1.
No. November 624 Delta Whiskey cleared to land runway tree 1.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, cleared to land, runway tree 1. Alright, I'm gonna have to do a downwind approach because I have totally missed the airport. totally missed the airport. There's the airport there. Better do a downwind for runway 31. So my approaches got totally messed up. The VOR DME approach to runway 07 got changed to an RNAV approach to runway 31, which I wasn't expecting. And then I shut the BeyondATC down accidentally. And that caused a problem. However, we're still okay. Let's turn onto a base leg now for runway 31. Well, we recovered from the problems. That's runway 31 right there. Put in 1 notch of flaps. Put in a 2nd notch of flaps. Overshot the final turn. Third notch of flaps. Boundary Bay used to be my home airport when I was living on the mainland. It's a great airport. 122. Not the greatest.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, vacate when able.
Vacate when able, 624 Delta Whiskey. Here's a turn off here.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, contact ground 124.3. Have a good day.
124.3. Have a good day. 624 Delta Whiskey. Switches to Boundary Bay ground. Boundary Bay ground, 624 Delta Whiskey. Request parking to ramp.
November 624 Delta Whiskey, welcome to Vancouver/Boundary Bay Airport. No suitable gates for your aircraft exist at this airport according to your scenery data. Taxi at pilot's discretion.
Taxi at pilot's discretion, 624 Delta Whiskey. I should have actually said request taxi to parking. not to gate, because there are no gates at Boundary Bay. It's all GA aircraft. So I guess that's what caused the problem. I wonder what would happen if I asked for taxi to parking. Let's try that and see. Boundary Bay, round 624 Delta Whiskey requests taxi to parking.
November 624 Delta Whiskey. I didn't get that.
No, they don't understand that. That's okay. Okay, so that is the little video on BeyondATC. It went a little longer than I expected, I guess because of all the changes that I were not expecting to get from ATC, but I guess that actually happens in real life. So I hope this has been of some help to some people. I do believe BeyondATC is well worth the US $30. For me it was Canadian $41, but it's well worth it, and it does give you practice before going into VATSIM if that's your desire. I think it's a big help. So with that, I'm going to close off the video. Thanks for flying Dane Simair Flyer. See you next time.
Foxtrot Bravo Bravo, pull up and go around.
Go around, Foxtrot Bravo Bravo.
Tower India Echo Lima, downwind 13, touch and go.
India Echo Lima number 3, follow Cessna left base, turning 1 mile final.
India Echo Lima.
Foxtrot Bravo Bravo Tower, fly runway heading.
Fly runway heading, Foxtrot Bravo Bravo.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land runway 13.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land 13.
Zulu Sierra Alpha, change of plans, crossover midfield, join right downwind runway 13.
Zulu Sierra Alpha, crossover midfield, join the right downwind